Hello and welcome back to the Everyday EDC. Here we are obviously reviewing the Civivi shredder today. Just as a recap for those of you who don't know, which probably 99.9% of you don't, this is a newer channel. I am newer at this and I'm doing this completely organic. One take, that's it. And if it gets screwed up, well, so be it. Don't really care. It's kind of meant to be organic, meant to be live action, whatever. So, today, we are playing with the Civivi Shredder. Obviously not too drop shotty, not really a good example already, but the blade is actually ridiculously light, especially due to this cutout here, which works fantastic, jumping right in past everything, which works fantastic for the thumb deployment. You got the Spidey flick, and it also has a flipper tab with decent jimping on it. I'll catch you up right there. All right, kind of to go over everything on this. It has an ambidextrous pocket clip. I currently have the red and black G10 model. Here is the deep carry pocket clip. This blade in itself is a 3.75-inch blade with a cutting length, due to this finger choil right here, of 3.5 inches. Overall length of the whole unit, I guess I would call it, is 8.5 inches. We have a blade stock thickness of 120 or 0.12, which is typical Civivi, but extremely thin behind the edge. This thing's called the shredder because it doesn't really do justice here, but and you got some smudging, which is cool. This is a hollow ground blade. It comes down to a super fine point. I mean, it's called the shredder, and it does exactly what it says it's supposed to do. I mean, this thing friggin' shreds. So, you know, I don't really know how to do that with one hand. Anyways, I was going to try and demonstrate it, but, you know, you guys get the point. The blade itself, this is a satin finish on the blade, and the overall weight of this guy is 3.76 ounces. So, as you can see, typical Civivi style ball bearings. The action on this guy, sorry, finger freaking itches. The action on this guy is fantastic. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. And you would expect nothing less, right? By this point in time, you guys might be getting bored of my Civivi reviews, but like I said, my goal is to collect all of them, do the Civivi reviews, maybe we'll move on to CRJB. Basically keeping it in line with, you know, everything that you guys would purchase for the average EDC person. You know, I'm not going to do the Sabenzas, the zero tolerances or the hinderers or anything like that yet, solely because that is out of my price range, out of your price range more than likely, and, you know, I'm not good enough to do a full-blown review on something that really requires a massive critiquing. And by critiquing, I mean just overall, you know, appreciation for a blade. So what we're going to do here is we are going to check the size of these screws. I believe they are T8. You got the Weha freaking tool here. It's got all the guys in the back of it. It's actually pretty nice. All right, so checking this. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's a T8. You guys can see here. We got T8. Assuming that the lock is there. Yeah, so that's good too there. So the whole thing is T8 screws, which everybody knows is way nicer than T6, so you don't have to deal with any stripping screws or anything of that nature. I've already taken this guy apart a couple times, lubed it up and whatnot, so didn't require it, but just because that's what we do, that's what we do. Kind of getting more into it, there are several different versions of this. There is a red and black, there is a blue and black, and there is a black on black. Got this nice black liner right there. Not liner, but spacer. I mean, the ergos on it are okay. It feels good in the hand, especially when you choke up. It's a narrow knife. I mean, this knife weighs 3.76 ounces, and it is a 3.75-inch blade, which, I mean, you get your ounces to length there, and you know, it's for being so light, it does feel great in the hand, but you do kind of feel like you're missing a little bit of meat from it, but I think that's the point, right? This isn't a I don't think this is something that you really want to use all day, every day. You know, mainly the size of it. It's nice and long, super dainty, which camera sucks. Super dainty point there. And, I mean, it's a shredder. It's not meant to be a prior, right? So, I mean, that thing's just cut up so many boxes and paper when you're bored and whatever the case is. It's D2 blade, you know, so that's it's supposedly a step up from 9 CR18 MOV. A little bit harder to sharpen, a little less corrosion resistant, and a little bit better edge retention. I mean, this just looks so cool. And the action, the fidget factor of this knife, pointer finger, middle finger, thumb, oh, fail, you know, flipper. I mean, it's just, the action is awesome. So what we're going to do here is next, we are going to get our standard comparisons. Okay, follow along with me. If you see, we have the Rat 1 and the Rat 2. All right, so you see that knife is way bigger than the Rat's. No, I'm just kidding. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the Civivi sandwich. I will open these up. So what I currently have is I have the Civivi Praxis. I'm going to try to line these up as best as possible. And then for more of a frame of reference, I have the Civivi Elementum. As you can see, the Praxis is a much heftier knife, a little bit shorter. You got a lot more belly to that blade. I think the cutting edge is probably going to be about the same on the Praxis. And then, if not larger, geez. And then, obviously, with the Elementum being much more of a smaller knife, you know, it's just kind of gives you a frame of reference there. So, the next up on the sandwiches, we will go with, I'll change it up a little bit today. Not that this gives a great point of reference, but, you know, it gives you something. Here is the PM2, which I conveniently called the Rat 2 several times in my last video. Awesome, organic, and just crap. So, and then the Manix 2. As you can see, this is a little bit longer than both. That is not an optical illusion. That is a little bit longer than both. And obviously the Manix 2 coming in much, or not much, but about a 1/4 inch shorter than the PM2 anyways. So, kind of put these away, and one more sandwich for you, which is going to be my typical look here. And last but not least, trying to line these up through the camera. So obviously we got our Newport and Rat Model 1. As you can see, well, maybe you can't see, the Rat Model 1 is just slightly bigger, obviously way bulkier if you've ever held a Rat 1, but I mean, ergos on a Rat 1 ironically feel fantastic too. But there you go. There's those sandwiches going on there. So the shredder was actually the first Civivi that I purchased. I don't know if it was the name, if it was the look, or what it was, but I immediately fell in love with Civivi and purchased way too many more. This knife in particular holds a soft spot in the heart. I don't like it necessarily more than I like, say, the Backlash or the Statira for everyday carry. I mean, those two knives feel like everyday carry knives. And actually, if you guys want to bear with me, I can do that sandwich too for you. Since we're talking about it, why not? All right. Here's the Backlash and the Statira. So don't quote me on this because I screwed this up on the Mini Bull Mastiff earlier, but I believe the price on this, I think I paid 60. I said 64 on the Bull Mastiff. Maybe that's why I got confused. I believe this is a $64 knife. And, you know, it's truly worth, if this is your style, you want a little bit larger of a knife with a little bit of flair to it, you know, it truly is worth the, just the price. I mean, you don't get a better value. And you might, I mean, especially in the future with the way we're going with things, but I think the value on this is just incredible. You Zoom in on the Civivi logo as usual. And as usual, not advertising, just happens to be my best backdrop right now. So, you know, I talked about the Mini Bull Mastiff yesterday. Obviously, I would carry this over the Bull Mastiff every day. Not really necessarily for the carry, but it's, you know, even if... And this actually might be where my two favorite Civivis are beaten out to an extent, because the action on this, like I said, I think the D10's kind of weak on this one, but the action feels awesome for it, kind of. This one has a nice little cling to it, and it just feels solid. But the fidget factor on this guy, this is where the freaking shredder wins over anything. That fidget factor is just so fun to do. Hours. I've maybe cut, like I said, boxes and paper with this, but I've spent quadruple that amount of time frickin' doing this just because. For no other reason other than to sit here and just have fun flipping this. So it's got a nice little tang to it. Doesn't have that thwack that some of these knives have. Let's see if the Praxis has got it. Well, I know my... No, that's kind of weak. Manix 2, not very good for a thwack. Let's see here. Yeah, you got that. You know, it's got my... It just sounds a little bit, I guess, more... Not to be... I don't want to say feminine, but... You know, this one also sounds more dimmed thud. This... Maybe it's because of the wooden scales or the way it resonates. This feels better to me, but maybe that's just me talking. I don't friggin' know. As usual, I do intend to review all the other knives that you see here, give you a little bit of background on them. Well, not really background, but obviously we being a sub-branch, or Civivi being a sub-branch of we, blah, blah, blah. But kind of giving you an idea of what you're looking at, what you're paying for, that type of thing. This being a little bit more pricey of a Civivi by comparison to the Backlash, which I think even with the ebony wood scales, I think I still got it for $55. The Elementum coming in at $50. The Statera coming in a little bit more pricey at $64, $72, something like that. But the Praxis, you know, being awesome. But the Praxis being one of their flagship models, I want to say coming in at $55. Once again, don't quote me on that. I will correct myself in the comments if needed. You know, I am not above screwing up, because that's why I do these with one take. It gives me an excuse to screw up nonstop. And yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this, I'm going to do the typical banter, you know, subscribe, hit the like button, all that crap. Tell your friends. Obviously, being a new channel, I want to get kicked off, and I appreciate every single person that has come here. I had a couple buddies that kind of spread the word, so we got a little bit of a blow up on the Bull Mastiff, but I don't know how many of them were true knife fans, you know, it's just kind of more of an appreciation thing. Not to die myself out. But feel free to tell anybody that you want about these. Feel free to tell me I suck. You know, give me some criticism, give me some feedback. Let me know that you guys are watching it when you do watch it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your time you've spent watching this. And I guess as a little clue to the future, what I intend to do, once I get a little bit better at sharpening to where I can explain it as I go, stropping, taking knives apart and stuff. Obviously, I could take knives apart, but I don't have a setup to do so. I want to show you guys those types of videos too. This isn't just a review channel of a bunch of budget knives, right? This is a channel that you guys can use for informational purposes. We'll go over blade steels, you know, what my experience with them is. Pretty much the idea stolen from anybody else who's done these videos. And, you know, just so that you guys get some more reinforcement as far as what type of blade steels do what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, where they do best, average price range for the knives and that sort. You know, top 10 lists and all that. But obviously, we're just starting out, so this is what you get. Suck it up, buttercup. Enjoy your day.